Grand rising young people. Okay, so that's interesting. I was gonna turn. I was gonna go get some dye for these, so I could look like some of the people who are doing the videos where it's like black up here and then it's red down here, um, but or brown. Then it dawned on me. Oh, wait a minute. I actually have brown hair, so who knew? I don't have to do it. So anyway, let's get back to business. Grand rising young people and new people. Oh, please like and subscribe to my YouTube videos. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers. After that, I know I'm just going to take off and get 1,000 subscribers before you know it. But one thing I learned while this is still on my mind, let me share this with you. I want you to try things again. Okay. For example, like say you watch Black Mirror. I don't know why I picked that one, but anyway, say you watch Black Mirror on videos. All right. And the last time you seen it, it had certain episodes. But as time goes on, it will repost. It'll be Black Mirror and it'll have different episodes. So I found that if I try things again later, it's new or it's different. You guys would call it a timeline thing. Okay, I'll go with that. Timeline are people who are scientifically inclined. I'm pretty sure they're not fairy tale inclined because they tend to do a little bit of research. All right, or at least they listen to the people that they suspect have done some research. So uh, I don't think it's really a fairy tale. I've never tried to do research on a fairy tale. All right. But I will do a little bit of research, usually by using ChatGPT, which is really interesting. Oh, hey, somebody's in here already. Chica, Grand Rising. All right, so my whole thing is not particularly Black Mirror. My thing is to try something again later on. All right, so um, and I don't mean like the same day or a little later on the same week. And no, I mean literally try it again. Okay, let me see. What did I try again and it worked? Okay, let me see here. Let me give you an example because I found that to be true. All right, so some things, if you do the same way, uh, it might not work if it didn't work the first time, but just you guys are adults. I'm not going to over explain it. Whatever you tried before, and if it didn't work in the past, I want you to try it again. Kind of think of the new wave people or the new timeline people or the timeline people. So we've never talked like this in the past. All right. But there's a whole bunch of people who believe in the timelines. And I tell you what made me do that. There were two things that occurred in my life: 1999 and 2012. And these 2 years were significant. In 1999, everyone was afraid that the computers and their clocks, or their internal clocks. Thank you for liking the video. It makes the logarithm think I'm doing something interesting and it'll keep putting it out. And new people can tap in with this type of content, which is just basically an old man talking. I'm not going to do any reaction videos yet. Maybe after I get around 1,000 subscribers. I'll go ahead and learn how to do that. But for now, I kind of like just getting on here and just talking about what happened to me yesterday. All right. And some of the things that I find work. So if they work for me, they should work for you. Okay. So in 1999, they didn't think that the clocks on the computers were going to change. So this is going to make people have like an Armageddon kind of thing. It doesn't take much for us because we are overly stimulated. Okay, so we just go from information to information to information. This is why I want you to learn how to meditate. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers. If I get 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to do the milestone at 1,000 subscribers. Good morning, Alexander. I'll be able to do uh, adding ads onto my video. I'm just trying to make a couple of bucks doing what's normal. I would do this if people were watching me on YouTube or Facebook or not. This is something that I would do. I would talk about the creator of heaven and earth, some of the things that he has done for me. So, give you guys a heads up. So, and maybe you'll see it'll happen for you. All right. So, however, whatever I'm describing, however it happened to me, it may happen to you a little bit differently, but it's going to happen. Okay. So, for example, the second timeline problem I had was in 2012. And that's when the Mayans said that society would end. Okay. CERN was actually active during that particular year, and uh, the conspiracy theorists tried to explain it like we there was some kind of switch. There was some kind of switch. Wait, I got my tea now with all kinds of minerals and nutrients in it. Yuck! But at the same time, I fell and bruised my rib, where anyone else my age, if they had hit it with the same impact, I'm pretty sure that they would have broken it. So I keep doing the minerals and the nutrients, and it's tending to pay off. Okay, so um, if you start these minerals and nutrients, they're not like fast for relieving pain. Like if you take a Tylenol, if you're not afraid of catching ADHD. Sheesh. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Did you see what happened to the Orange Man the other day? He was at a conference for the press conference or something, and somebody started shooting. I don't think they were actually shooting at him. The audience, it was so mixed reaction-y. They some of them just kept sitting there. And, all right, and I could understand that because you could hear the gunshots, but they weren't that clear. They weren't in the room. Okay, they were upstairs in a hallway somewhere. All right, and that was suspicious because they caught the guy. All right, and to be fair, I think that might be their way of handling people who try to assassinate the president, because so far the last couple people who were trying to assassinate him, they took him in alive. So I don't know. So like the guy, I think the sniper guy who shot him in the ear, I don't think they killed him, because he got away, right? And the guy who did it the other day, oops, my battery's always on low. Sheesh. Let's plug this in. Let's turn this on. All right, so the battery is. I'm sorry. All right, so my battery's on low. I'm sorry. I'm the typical dude. We don't plug it in. We don't plug our phone in until we need it, or until it's like around 10% or something like that. Which is odd because I got pluggers and chargers all over the place, but they just seem to be uncomfortable. Uh, Trying to use them. For example, if I plug it in and charge it up, I can't do a video because the charger plugs in the bottom, so I can't set it up uh, horizontal or vertical or whatever, and because of the plugs in the bottom. So if I'm trying to do videos throughout the day, I might not plug it in, and because nobody wants to do your video sideways. Let me see if I do this sideways. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. All right, so you kind of get that. Okay, so in 2012, the Mayan calendar said that that was the end of time. So the Mayan calendar, I guess, however they looked at it, it kept time or calendar dates for like thousands of years or something. So it was kind of significant when the last date on the Mayan calendar was in 2012. So it might seem kind of foolish to you. However, if you do a little bit of research, you'll see that that calendar was, hey, Alexander, you'll see that calendar, um, when we get calendars, sometimes you can buy a calendar for 12 months. All right. So with the Mayans, their calendars were like for thousands of years or something. So kind of look at it like that. All right. And you know who the Mayans are because they got that pyramid. All right. That has all the steps, and you walk all the way up the steps. You're not allowed, once you get to the top, you're not allowed to go in. But of course, a Karen did it recently. All right. I don't know what she expected to see. It has to be empty in there. I know there's no artifacts and stuff still sitting around in there. I don't know what she expected to see, but I'm pretty sure she won't be asked back to that country. Holy moly! I'm not, and it might not be outside of the United States. It might be in New Mexico. But anyway, there are pyramids in the United States that the United States just figured, okay, we're not digging these up. Okay. So anyway, they don't really want to change the history, which is really odd about the United States because one of our things is to change history. Okay, so everybody knows the victor writes the history. All right, or to the victor is history, or whatever. All right. So anyway, I don't know why they won't do that. With all the technology and stuff we have, they could at least do a Mylar screen of the thing and probably see what some of these mountains are. The next place I wanted to try to go is to Tennessee. And the reason why I picked Tennessee is because with a little bit of research, you may find that the Tennessee and the Mississippi River, if uh, who is that? This lady keeps walking past here. All right, so you'll find that uh, um, it has something to do with the Nile River, okay? And the Nile or the Mississippi River is compared to the Nile River. So basically, what they're trying to say is, in the United States is what was originally Africa, and the problem I had with them is uh, they also call it Babylon. So of course that's over in Africa, but um, Babylon today is Iran or Iraq, one of those two places. All right, which they're doing all that blowing up over there. I think they're trying to blow up some of them aliens and stuff that came through the portals. Because that makes absolutely no sense to blow up everything unless they're trying to catch them aliens that might have come through a portal. When you do a little research and following up, you'll find that there's probably a portal over there. We probably ourselves couldn't do anything with a portal. I mean, just go in it, but we have no idea what to expect. But the ones who are portal hoppers, they would know what to do with the portal. If you have a portal in your country, I'm pretty sure you would want to go in or out of it. Okay, so uh, it would probably be like a military operation or something. So keep that in mind. All right. Hey, Patel. Oh boy. Thanks for coming in. Parish Partel. All right. Thanks for coming in. Okay. Um, so keep that in mind. And also, Iran used to be Persia. Okay. If you read the Bible, calm down, calm down. I'm not a religious person. I just happen to read it, and I'm going to tell you where I read it at. That's all. Calm down. Okay. Um, you will find in the Bible that there was a place that was called Persia. And the reason why I wanted to point that out is Iran's name was changed, and you know by who, to now there is a Persia over there now, but Iran was initially called Persia. It's because one thing you're going to find if you go through a map or one of the oldie maps, one of the old maps, there are countries or states or whatever they are in Africa that have the same name. Okay, so that's interesting. Where the places that we have in the United States that has the same name, we'll call it North Dakota or South Dakota. All right, but over there, it isn't the same. They don't call it North Persia or anything. They just call two places Persia. And if you knew where you were back then, it wouldn't make a difference, all right? Because you know you're in the Persia on this side of the map, all right? So Persia was in the map. Now, the reason why I want to talk about Persia is because in the last days or the end days, kind of like the Mayan calendar, it said it was the last days. In the last days, Persia, which is in the Bible is not called Iran, but just because they call it Iran now because they changed the name, it doesn't mean that the author of this particular story about Persia changed the name. It just called it Persia. That's what he saw. He just called it Persia. All right. He didn't have the privy of the name change. Okay. In the last days, Persia is supposed to be playing a key role in the end times and the prophecies. And if you can, all right, try to read some of the prophecies from anywhere. They took the prophecy of the Mayan calendar quite serious. All right. So that's in our lifetime. So if I could get you to take the prophecies and consider them, you'll see how close how close it is to the end times, or how close it is to being like the 2012. These prophecies are coming true, and the problem is maybe the first time people learned about prophecies, they were like, "Oh, this is a fairy tale or whatever," so they kind of stay away from them. But for those of us who have not and stayed with it, we are finding these prophecies are coming true. Now, I don't know about the last days, if he's going to come in on a cloud or whatever. I can't see that happening. So it must mean something else because we made the change from 1999 to 2000 okay, and it wasn't that big of a deal because the programmers didn't know what it would do, but uh, the computer did. All right, so apparently in the first position of 1999, so it would have to have been one, two, one through nine. All right, just like 1999, the second nine probably went up to zero through nine. Then the third nine went up from zero to nine, and the fourth nine in 1999 would go from zero to nine. I don't know why it was a big deal. It should have just changed on its own. But anyway, they were putting in safeguards and virus protection and all kinds of stuff. So if it didn't change, um, so here's what I found out. There's a whole state in the United States that does not play that daylight savings time thing. I did not know that. And they, in, in 2023, I think they actually passed a law where they were going to stop doing daylight savings time anyway. Or also the entire 50 states. 51 if you include Canada. Okay, or 52 if you count Greenland. You know what I'm saying? These people are just adding them up, and that is so sad. I'm kind of glad I'm on the uh, patriot side of the USA. All right, and if you are a patriot, and if you're going for USA, and if you're not just Johnny Come Lately, you would find that Washington D.C. is the United States, and the other states are America. So that's kind of the hardest thing that people need to learn. Okay, so we're not conspiracy theorists or anything, but the United States, like they say, is a corporation. Okay, um, if you uh, get a .org .gov address. All right, that's for a specific kind of like what website. That's where they get that type of stuff from. So all we can do is start .coms, okay, but we cannot start .govs. We could start .orgs, all right, and some of the other dots that we could start. But if it's .gov, it's specific. Nobody else can use that. If you try to come up with a website and make the address uh, in your name www.gov, it won't let you do it. It won't let you do anything with .gov in your URL. All right, so that's what that's all about. So be of good cheer. It's a it's a system that they have. Does it need improvements? It probably does. But by the time you get everybody in these two leadership positions to agree that something needs to change, the only thing that everybody got together, all the countries, all the states, all the world agreed to not visit, okay, is like Antarctica. You know what I'm saying? Or the South Pole, or whatever. If you look on the map, Antarctica and the South Pole is probably two different places, but I digress. I'm not looking at a calendar. But the most important thing is all the leaders decided that nobody was going to go down there and do anything. We're not going to move a society in there. All right, but they would, but they're close. They're on the outside and stuff like that. They're and the places that they show us are usually the places that are frozen, like when we see the icebergs, or if we see the ice wall. If you see the icebergs, they're frozen. You probably wouldn't want to stay in there. But when you're looking at those icebergs and stuff, it's in a specific area. It's not the whole continent. Okay. And as time went on, we are now looking at um, Antarctica being a ice wall. Okay. So don't be so hard on them. It's just their way during their time to be in leadership. This is how they would describe Antarctica. They would describe it as a, when we were growing up, not having privy to all the maps that we have, like the Ryerson map or the recent map or something. Uh, I don't think Antarctica even appeared on it. Okay, but they say that if you look at a map, oh geez, what's going on here? Oh, hold on, I thought I plugged this thing in. Sheesh. But that's just looking inside my brain. Okay, there you go. Okay, so all right, so don't be that hard on them. What I'm trying to do is if we can reconcile some of these uh, bigger macro, we'll get, we'll let macro work out. If it's the first time you heard it, you may reject it. Okay. Well, we didn't learn. All right, that's cool. You have two people who started the education system. There didn't used to be an education system. Watch out. I'm going to start talking about the Bible. There didn't used to have been. All right, so the person who was teaching those law classes, they may not have went to college, but they taught themselves. Oh, going to send the kids to school because, the parents had to go to work, and you can't take your kids into the field with you. All right, that the flu or a virus or something like that, they're not really going to do any work. Okay, because maternally, instinctively, they're going to want to stop working and take care of the kid. Oh, my baby's crying. Okay, so they had to take the kids. Right now, I ain't justifying none of that. Okay, but if you take the kids and if you send them to another farm, please like the videos, guys. Come on, help me out. Um, if you do it now, then you won't have to think about it later. Okay, so that's why they did that. All right, and I don't know exactly where they would take the kids. I guess they would send them to a kid slave farm or something like that. There where only the kids would work because they wouldn't take them until they were a certain age. I guess whenever they were done weaning, so that would be 5 to 7 years old or something. They would let them stay with the parent, but there had to be a place where the kids would go when the parents would go to the field because they weren't taking the kids into the field. No, all right. The Orange Man is trying to change the situation now, and it might benefit the farmers because they're trying to make America great again, and they're thinking, and this is just my opinion. I don't know. Okay, this could be true or not true, but it's just some of the things I want you to think about that you might not be thinking about. All right, and so he recently passed an executive order, either reportedly or allegedly or whatever, and they're going to make America great again by putting the blacks back in the field. And I really don't understand that, why they sent all the immigrants away who were working in the fields, and now they got rid of them. So he did try to backtrack, and he came up with another executive order that said, okay, the ones who are working in the fields can come back. I'm like, all right. So I know this is a new administration, and whether I like the guy or not, my understanding, my default understanding is you have to let things start and work through. Okay, I mean that's all it is. He didn't do as bad in his first term, and I mean things worked out. We made it through a significant closure of our society, and it was a worldwide closure. So he was the commander in chief then, and we came through okay. All right, it lasted longer than we thought, but it was something that we didn't experience before. All right, so it's the same thing. It is going to happen, but the government might not have anything to do with it. There's going to be 3 days of darkness coming up. Okay, I'm sorry. I always have to refer to the Bible. I don't know what it is, mainly because I think that everybody has one. It's on your coffee table. It's black. So go blow the dust off of it and open up and read it. Okay. Don't worry about the parts that you can't understand because these stories will repeat and they'll be written by somebody who might talk your language. Okay. So don't spend a lot of time on it. Okay. Yeah. Don't spend a lot of time or a lot of concern about I can't understand what I'm reading. All right. That's always been an issue. There's one story in the Bible about a eunuch. All right. Oddly enough, a eunuch is well taken care of, and that's because of the scenario that made him a eunuch. Okay. So, for example, there just might not be a family line of eunuchs. You know what I'm saying? So, you may have eunuchs that are cousins, but they would not have become cousins by birth, or or they may have been cousins by birth, but uh, there's a process for unification that will mean that they won't have a bloodline. They will come from a bloodline, but they're not going to continue that bloodline. All right, because of the all right. So anyway, so the eunuch was sitting on a camel. Here's how the story goes, and it's not a fairy tale. A eunuch is sitting on a camel. You would actually have to see a camel to see how big these things actually are. They're from their hump that they keep the water in. If you stand next to them, they're almost twice as tall as you are. So I'm 5'7". That hump on that camel is probably about 13 feet or 12 to 13 feet because he has to bend his legs to bend down and sit down. And you still have to climb on it. All right. So when he's down, his hump is about the height of a horse. Got it? Okay. Because you see how you have to hop on a horse, right? Okay. Um, so the eunuch is sitting on one of those things, and the thing probably wasn't sitting down. I don't know if it's a part of the tour where you would sit on a camel that's sitting down or laying down because they always have them in the tour. They'll bend down and the person will get off, and then the next person will get on it. So I've never seen, uh, and then they would go over a trail. So camels generally follow a trail. All right, and all right, so you don't ever see a camel with people just sitting on it. Okay, so I'm sensing that the eunuch was sitting up there pretty high. And then a guy comes past who was actually trying to get away from a situation. But let me let you read the story. See, it's a fairy tale, but it's a true thing. All right, it's a fairy tale to people who don't read it. But I mean, anyway, I mean, you could read a fairy tale and learn something from it. Just read it. That's my thing. All right. Um, so he's sitting on his camel, and he was reading a scroll. You know how the horse has a saddlebag or something like that. So he had a scroll. Now scrolls were expensive back then, They didn't. Everybody didn't have a scroll in their on their camel. Okay, so for him to have one, he would have had to have a way to carry it. And then when he got where he thought he was comfortable, he started reading it. He took it out of the bag or whatever they have, and he started reading the thing. But he couldn't understand it. So a guy comes along, somebody like me, who might help you understand what the Bible is saying. But back then, it was a scroll. So the guy said, "Do you understand what you're reading?" And the eunuch said, "Hi, well, teaches." All right, so there was your first lead. Was it the first Bible study? It was also the first, uh, well, not really the first baptism, but after a baptism had occurred. All right, so let me just leave it at that, and let me let you figure out what you're going to do with it, okay, Patel? All right, now, so full uh, is what it said. Careful, and people should not by going backwards. I think that they should get baptized just by bending their legs or whatever and submersing themselves under the water. If you have a baptismal pool, if you don't have a baptismal pool that's deep enough for somebody to crouch down and be submersed, then if you baptism, they had a backyard pool, one of the plastic ones. So we had to have the people dip backwards. I probably should explain that, but um, at the time I didn't. All right, and it was so cool that they had a toddler. All right, she saw what was happening, and it was her turn. She actually participated in it, and this is significant because she had to put the baby's head underwater. She did it. Yeah, okay. So anyway, full stop on that. That's just my little break to give honor and glory to the Creator of heaven and earth. All right. So I want you to start your day with a prayer. You may hear people have got problems with prayer. I don't know how to pray. Well, in 2026, they have AI now that will uh, throw these prayers out there, and all you have to do is repeat those prayers. And I think you have a better chance of doing it if you have a AI that's going to go over, like, say, Psalms 91 1 or something like that, okay? I wanted to choose Psalms 91, verse 1, because it's probably a 3 or 4 line verse. So there's enough to read for it to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm telling you, if you will do that, that will influence your day. Okay, if you, I mean, if you have, if you're depressed or something, you want something to go in you that's going to fight the depression. And one way to fight the depression is to use those scriptures. Okay, um, I understand that some people's depression is mitochondriacally or something. I mean, that type, it could still be done. You can fight that type, and believe it or not, if you have that type of depression, you can do that with frequencies. All right, 528 hertz, 428 hertz, or 423 hertz, or 111 hertz. I want you to try these new things that they're doing in 2026. And they may have been doing it for a while, but it's starting to gain in popularity because these things do work. It's just not like a pain pill where you take a pain pill 20 minutes later, all right, the pain has subsided, okay? But these prayers that you say in the morning, it'll change your day. These frequencies that you listen to will change your body. All right, get some headphones. All right, and try yoga. Uh, Yoga has been around long enough for it to be considered a serious, to be taken serious. All right. So try it. I'm actually getting to the point now where when I get out of bed, I try to get to the yoga position, not the lotus position. I believe the lotus position is sitting down, but uh, the picture of the lotus is actually uh, showing you chakras, okay? And it only shows you the chakras from the waist up, all right? Not, it doesn't, the chakras don't include your legs. But be of good cheer because your legs are actually connected to some of the uh, positions in your chakra. This is the green chakra or the throat chakra. Right down here is the red chakra. All right. So they have frequencies for that. Remember, years and years ago, most of you may not know that, but we used to have bells, and the bells would go off, real bells. And guess what? We didn't have school shootings. We didn't have mass shootings. We didn't have people trying to kill the Jews in their synagogues and stuff like that. Because the bells, not at the moment that they're being rung, but the bells being consistent enough to be played would actually cause healing on the inside. Okay, it wouldn't stop the bleeding. If you were bleeding and somebody put you under a bell or something, you're probably going to bleed. Okay, okay. Remember that movie in Spider-Man when he put on that black goo stuff and he became the nemesis of Spider-Man. A nemesis is just the bad side of somebody. We all have a nemesis. Ask me how I know. Right, Patel? All right. Um, uh, so the way he was able, and it wouldn't come on, or if you're under it or something, that's get a church steeple. In the movie, the black goo ended up going on that other guys. So Spider-Man didn't have to worry about it anymore. He was under the bells, and the guy who got the black goo on him, I don't know why the bells didn't work for him, but that's another story. That's how I think. Well, how come the black goo got on him? But all right, maybe because he wasn't right by the bell. I don't know. But bells used to be okay. They say that the reason we don't have them is because they were used for ton bell. And, you know what I'm saying? It could not have been easy. It had to have some type of pulley system to get it up there, but whose idea was that? It had to be put on there for a purpose, and and it would be played, or it or the bells would sound, and it wasn't always a call to prayer, or like some of the people overseas have. They got that guy who'll go, he would do that, and that would mean it's called prayer. Some of them buses 5 times a day. All right, and you might think that that's a lot, but that was the deal that God made with the people coming out of Egypt. You will come into the wilderness and you will worship me, praise and worship me. All right, so the people overseas who do that, they're closer to doing what the Bible says do than we are here in the United States. So we think, oh, well, I'll go to church on Sundays. And we think we're doing something. We are way off considering that they have prayer and worship 5 times a day. It is really odd to see because some of the old school people will stop and pray. Some of them actually go to synagogue, so they're not get caught up on the street. So, for example, like in London or something like that, they had an influx of immigrants or something. And whenever it was time for prayer, they would stop wherever they are. Okay, on the sidewalk, they park their cars and get out or something like that, so they could do that prayer. Okay, so that was a problem because in a modern society or in the EU, they're not used to people just stopping and praying, stop and drop. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that they got that together probably by coming up with some more temples or synagogues or something like that. So whenever that happens, then the old school people they could do that. But the new school people from the same religion or the same group of people, they don't do that. They just walk right past you. Same religion. Calm down. I'm not trying to use religion, but same group of people, but they just had different interpretations of it. And the only thing I can tell you is the best interpretation of it is to have call to prayer. That's the best, or that's the closest to what we were supposed to be doing when we came out of bondage. Okay, so there's a lot in that Bible story, and there's a lot that is going on, especially in the EU and the Middle East that we may not know about because all you're trying to do is go to school, have the weekend off, and maybe your parent would take you to church or something like that there, and then start your week over again. You never really got into it. And again, the way the American churches do is it's sufficient for you to go on Sundays. Okay. And even when was learning and growing, I went to church more than on Sunday. I would go Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, okay, and sometimes on Saturday we would go to other churches in what they call a circuit. If you have a church called COGIC, well, they have different churches. All their COIGICs aren't in the same neighborhood. All right. So what we would do is we would go to other COGICs. So we would call that a circuit. All right. We'd take our pastor, he would take the choir or whoever wanted to go, or whoever wanted to follow him down there. And we would have a sermon there. So for me, um, being in the church, it didn't mean uh, that I was some kind of slave or something. Now, here's the only thing I can tell you. All right, and I'm not making any comparison of people, but I think I am better off for having done that than some of the people who haven't. I personally cannot understand how anybody is making it without having a relationship with the creator of heaven and earth. The only thing I could say is it's probably possible to have a relationship with the creator of heaven and earth because he determines what type of relationship he wants to have with you. So if it's one where you got to go every Sunday, all right, that's fine. If it's one where you have to stop and pray 5 times a day, that's fine. All right, it's all a relationship thing. It's not religion. Okay, all right. It becomes a religious when you get a building and then you have to pay the bills. Then it becomes a religiony. All right. All right, so full stop on that one. I beat that horse to death. So again, I want you to try some of these new things that they do work. Those frequencies do work, but you have to do them for a while. The meditation is really super fragilistic, espialidocious. All right, when I first started it, the deep breathing thing was so one of the things I like the best. All right, because it helps you set the mood. It helps you clear your mind. You know how you are whenever you are trying to go to sleep and your mind is racing and stuff like that. There, well, trying to learn how to meditate will teach you how to get rid of those thoughts. Teach you how to get rid of those thoughts. That it's powerful. Because you have a theory, a real situation, but some of the explanations are my explanation. I haven't gotten the adversary's explanation for why they do that. Okay, I just have to make it right in my mind. So my neighbor, she claps her hands. She'll just clap. Okay, no reason. The walls are so thin I could hear her, and it's so bad I actually have to ignore it. The things that you ignore are going to be determining if you're going to have a nice day or not. Okay, if you're going to have a nice life. Um, the things that we want or make our lives worse. Okay, trust me, young people. You're going to hear something that a famous person said. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of if one where they say if you are a white person and if you are not a racist, it's a miracle. Okay. One thing that the state went to the libraries and they got rid of all the books that they didn't like. And some of those included Black history, right? And then they bumped it up later when the Orange Man came in there and he got rid of DEI. I can't really complain about them getting rid of DEI because some of the DEIs were actually white people. They don't tell you that part. Okay, so I'm not trying to wish bad on white people, but the DEI uh, uh, they got rid of uh, and it shocked somebody who got it shocked to me because he ran on he was going to clean out the swamp. The but the way things go, this is how karma is. The way things go is the ones that he added to his cabinet and stuff like that. They ended up having to be cleaned out as part of the swamp. Uh, so it is what it is. I am up in the air with the Orange Man, even though he's killing people and stuff like that. There, best case scenario for me is I'm going to think, well, they're NPCs, okay, because everybody. I'm thinking same thing with Ukraine, same thing with Palestine. Free Palestine. Okay, it's mantra. Okay, and then I have a neighbor who has that uh, flag or something, or one of those signs that you put near Free Palestine. Okay, I want to get one of those signs. I want to get a flag that has what do you call it? The menorah on it. I think that is the coolest thing. But we're not using just to set that ones and worry about that. Worry about that. Once you reach your your unlimited data, um, it slows it down. So that's what's happening on my YouTube videos and my Facebook videos. And soon to come, I will be doing Twitches, TWIGCH. I'll be doing a Twitch, incoming Twitch, so that I can make a little extra. And that's all I really want to do. I'm going from I recently retired in 2023, so I'm going from a person who would work to a person who retired to to point. So anyway, I love you all. Let me end this with a prayer so you can see how I actually pray. Okay, friends. If you hear somebody praying, you'd be like, "Oh man, okay." Well, all right. So I'm going to use Holy Spirit, and I'm going to use Jesus to give you this example. Okay, Father, I'm just asking that the one who has come here I hope that they have come here to receive something. And I hope that they have received something. And I hope that they have received something. I'm not a babysitter. I'm trying to get them to fall in love with the word and get the situation, kind forgiveness, grace. This is my prayer for Tank. This is my prayer for Patel. This is my prayer. Who's it? Who else is on here? Oh wow, Patel, you kind of blew me up there. Okay. This is my prayer for Alexander and for Chica. And these things I ask in the name of the Father, who says in the Word, if you read the Bible, it's going to say, anything you ask the Father in the name of the Son, he'll answer. So the name of the Son in this case is Jesus. So, Father, these things I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Keep them safe. We know how it is out here. I know how treacherous it is out here because I have to go through traffic. And woo, uh, people who have people who haven't had their first cup of coffee are not people you want to be uh, involved in traffic and the first thing in the morning in the dark. You know what I'm saying? So be of good cheer. You're going to make it. You're going to know whatever decisions that you make. I just want you to know it's the right decision. If you are in an abusive situation, come out of it. Just come out of it. If you are in a loving situation, nurture it, make it grow. You have to make it grow. Um, we may think things will grow in seasons. Well, that's fine. If it's a winter season in your relationship, I want you to acknowledge it. All right, this is a winter season in my relationship. This is the spring season in my relationship. But in the winter season, nothing is growing. Okay, so I want you to take care of your relationships. You're going to have to determine where your relationship is. What season is your relationship in? Okay, you don't blame the other person. That other person has a brain that they will figure out problems the way they figure out problems, not what the solutions that you come up with. If you are that type of person, you have solutions for everything, you might be difficult to live with. All right, even though your solutions are right, but for not for this person's brain. All right, so that's my prayer for you. I hope you get it. All right, love ya. See ya.